Markets are trying to be complex as usual. It's trying to create confusion so that the retailers don't actually get the market and you be confused. But to break that down, you can go look at the dollar. This is the dollar index, which actually shows you a lot is happening and there is a potential for assets on the other side to run higher. Now we'll break that down. But now this is assets in the stock market. This one is Netflix and this one is Bed and Bath. Both of them actually gives you an idea or a thought process that this one is breaking higher. It's possibly a double bottom on a macro. This is bouncing from a long-term trend line support. If you remember, we've called this one way before. Around 160, we were saying, okay, this is a historical support. Same thing, Apple. In the recent past, maybe last couple of days back, we talked about this. We are going to break through this. And we are right now breaking higher through that. And if you look at the S&P 500, we are here inside this green box where you are literally trying to break higher. And if you do break higher, that means the market is going for a rally. Now, why is this happening? We've been talking about the possibility of Fed going dovish, and right now this completely gives you that idea. They may not have to actually go in super aggressive for the September hike. Now, Reuters actually put this one highlighting US stocks closed down on Wednesday with index volatile after investors thought minutes from Federal Reserve's meeting in July suggested policymakers may be less aggressive than previously thought. So they may not actually have to raise 75 basis points or 100 basis points. The inflation is already coming down. And if you are looking at the oil, it is breaking lower. We had a double top. Right now we are breaking lower. So this is actually a good sign. You broke this one to the downside. Now you may actually get a retest to the upside and then come back lower. So as it continues to do that, one of the biggest stuff in the market is the oil price goes down. Most of the other stuff in the market, the price is going to go down. Your normal daily use stuff, it's going to be less expensive. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go cheap, but I'm saying it's going to cool down a little bit, which means the markets can continue going higher. Now, if you actually look at the market, the crypto market in general, it is a little bit kind of here and there. Some of them are green, some of them are red, but most of them are mixed. Right now, it's not bullish, it's not bearish, but you can actually get some signals. When you look at like things like these, some of these are actually slowly grinding higher on a regular basis, and others are still trying to break through that. So to get a sense of that, you can look at the Bitcoin dominance, whether it's going to break higher or not, whether it's going to drop. And you can look at, our favorite XRP and what it's actually doing, because XRP at this point is showing a lot in relation to the altcoin market. So if you are looking at the altcoin market here, it shows a lot of similarity. So for me, looking at this, I'm like, okay, altcoins actually suggest that most likely the bottom is in. Now, previously, your moving average was just above the price, acting as a resistance. So this is a 20 and 50-day moving average. Each time you go back up, you get resisted. Each time you go back up, you get kicked down. Then eventually you went up, but that happens to be the resistance. You didn't have much room to move, right? So that was done there. Right now, it's a little bit different. You're above this. You can consolidate back into this range, that's for sure. But after that, chances are most likely you're going to go higher to test this range. Now, you have some room to do that. And if you're reaching that range, it also makes sense because this was the previous support. Now, if it breaks higher, that's an entirely different story. You're going completely bullish. That's all cool and great. Now, you take this one, the altcoin market, and combine it with XRP, and you're like, okay, that's a lot of signaling showing like, okay, most likely we are gonna enter into a rally session like what we had before. That was like a double bottom here in the altcoin market, but a capitulation for XRP. Great. But if you are putting that into perspective, from that time onwards, we had been following a similar trend line. Now, here and there are deviations, but if you break this down and follow this up, you kind of get that picture like, okay, we are waiting for another bull wave. So we are all waiting for wave 2, and right now, how does it actually look? Is it actually going to be in next 3 months, next 6 months, or it's going to be in next 3 years? So let's actually dig deeper. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. So if we are talking about this, yes, it does actually matter, because this actually shows you a lot of key indications, like we are bottoming. This is like a descending broadening wedge, which actually gives you the possibility, which we talked here, of a bounce to the upside, and that for XRP is bullish. Right now, we are at 0.38, which is not a great price for profit taking, but a good price to buy in my opinion. So if you are trying to connect these as resistance and this one as support and then extend that, you kind of see there is a possible channel evolving here. And most likely when the alt market go here to test the resistance there, XRP is going to test this level of resistance. So if you are taking that into price, that's somewhere close to 0.7, 0.72 range. Now, yes, previously we've been waiting at that area as a support resistance zone. So yes, most likely you're going to slow down. But if you are able to break that to the upside, now you have another measured move of 190%. So if you put that in perspective, you're going to test the previous high which we put in here. And if you are able to break through that, that's going to test the all-time highs here. Now that's all conceptual, but right now, the chances are you are going to look towards 0.7. Now, if you follow this chart clearly, one thing which you can easily understand is like, okay, when we bottom here in the altcoin market, which was the double bottom, and started moving higher, we also followed the similar trend here in XRP. But the difference is, if you actually take the trend angle, you can actually see like the altcoin market went up like 34 degrees. So that's generally easy way to measure that. And when you're looking at the XRP, it was traveling something like 21 degrees. So you didn't actually go that parabolic stuff, whereas you came down with the market too. Now, one thing to be noted there is when you're coming down, the alt market is coming at minus 16. And at the same time, XRP is coming minus 24. So we did not, one thing is that we did not go higher like the altcoin market, but when we are coming down with even more pace. So that actually shows like, okay, XRP is really volatile, and until it actually enters wave 2, it doesn't do much. Now, how can I say that? You can actually go zoom a little bit more out and take history into the perspective, and now ask that question, okay, the wave 1 scenario here, XRP did not even participate in that level. When the wave 2 started here, that's when XRP started moving in. So if you're taking that into consideration, you now understand like, okay, last cycle, XRP was super slow and it did not even participate in wave 1. Wave 2, yes, we did massive rally. And then again, wave 3 for the altcoin market here, which I'll put in red because that's the area for you to exit the market. We did participate in that market. Now, if you are looking at how much the market actually did for wave 3 in terms of the general altcoin market, it's somewhere close to 15-16x. But if you take the same measurement here for XRP, that was somewhere close to 30x. So if you are taking the bottom and the top, okay, 26x. Now, compared to the altcoin market, that's 10x more. Or, we actually did much better. Now, you go again to measure like the wave 2 and the total ROI, that's like 55x for the altcoins. Now, we come here to look at XRP. XRP did even better. So, wave 2 and wave 3, we were way above the average fluctuation. Fine. Wave 1, we didn't even participate in the market. Great. Now, wave 1 in last cycle was around 6, 7x, 8x. We didn't participate. But this time around in the market, when we did the wave 1 structure, the market actually did around 25x. Great. That's not a bad step. And XRP itself did 12x. Now it is below the average, agreed. But what you have to keep in mind is that it's not in the wave 1 where XRP goes above the average fluctuation. It's in wave 2 and wave 3. So right now, when you are preparing for wave 2, you do have to understand that what's the room to run for the altcoins. Now, most of you are out there who are XRP fans or do understand the fundamentals of that particular asset will agree on this. The hardship will be for other naysayers who don't consider XRP as a great asset, or even though it's a great asset, it won't perform in terms of price. Great. Now, if you're looking at the altcoins, they may agree that the altcoin in general has a room to run to the upside, which is like enormous room. Now, you can actually plot the optimistic view, which will go run like this, and trying to be a little bit conservative, you can say like the price is going to come somewhere close to here. Now, take this into perspective and say from the bottom, it's actually going to run like 60x. Great. Now you go back and then look at XRP and say, okay, if altcoin market is going to perform 60x, XRP is going to perform even better. That means you are following like, $25 in wave 2. Now, that's not super optimistic, skyrocketing price we are talking about, because we've taken the conservative range here. Now, you can say the cycle top can be somewhere here around a big number, 1000x. But, let's say like 600x from the bottom would be like too much. But from now, you're actually looking at a 300, 350x to be in that scenario. But right now here, if the market is going to do 40x from here, one of the best choice you have, in my humble opinion, is going to be XRP. Because when it runs in wave 2, it actually goes parabolic. Now, to get a bit more clear picture for this, now you can reduce your noise. You can go on a weekly chart, which if you actually get to see this, I would be like, okay, in last video we talked about this, so just reiterating that here. If you are getting a cup and handle pattern here as a formation, which for me looks like a good odds for that playing out, so you need to actually break it higher and you're starting that move. And as soon as you break from this level, your measured move starts. Great. So now you are not talking about $2 XRP, $3 XRP. You are talking about $10, $15 XRP towards $25, $30. It is. I know right now the price is 0.38 and it will be hard for a lot of people to even agree that this asset can perform something like that. But if you are going into the market and looking at like, okay, a lot of people right now are trying to move on to Ether. So my question is, okay, great. As an investor, ask this. You buy low, sell high. Now, no one knows where the high is and whether this is super high or super low. No one knows. But it's easy to make a judgment based on the bottom. The bottom was close to $85. Right now, after these drops, you came to like $800. And right now you're at $1,800. That's like, 85 to 1,800. So a lot of upside has been already done. So if you are looking at this precisely, now you will be asking this question, okay, should I be worried about that? If I'm in this asset, will my ROI be lower? Yeah, most likely. If you accumulated this asset here and you're still holding that, great, you may get a good ROI from here because you are not selling that. You still have a lot of position here. But if you entered here in the market somewhere here, now your upside in this particular asset can be lower. And if you really want to compare that, it's going to be easy. You can just go on and ask this asset and like, okay, here you can change that into Ether for the time being. And look at this. Ether did similar in last cycle where the wave 1 was, quite good. It actually went up. XRP did not participate in that. So when Ether did a 50x, XRP was slow, it did not do anything. After which, in the wave 2, Ether did a 60x and XRP did around a 75-80x. So it did perform better than Ether. Then if you're taking those out and looking at the wave 3, after the correction, Ether did just below 10x and XRP did like 26, 27x. So taking that into account from here, wave 2, wave 3, you can decide which asset is going to be the best for you to ride it from here till somewhere where you feel like, okay, the asset is now reaching a bubble territory. Now, you looking at the dollar kind of gives you that narrative too. In dollar index, if I'm personally looking at this, I'm like, okay, dollar is actually kind of like a little bit like a stable coin in this sense. So if you consider it like that, people go into dollar, asset price reduces. People move out of dollar, asset prices increases. Easy, right? Now you're looking at this, dollar came down or it was trending lower and crypto went up. Then dollar made a bullish bottom, reversal pattern and started trending higher. What happened? Crypto went down. So if you're actually putting that into perspective, you can now ask that question like, okay, this actually shows me like there is going to be a potential consolidation here. Now, that from this chart on a weekly, saying that may be a little bit hard, but if you actually come on, look at that on a macro scenario. This is your dollar. You go on to a macro scenario. Let me actually take you guys there on this. When you're looking at this, it's kind of a little bit more easier to say like, okay, you go up, you consolidate there for a long period of time. You go up, you consolidate there for a long period of time. So if you are putting that into perspective from here, that is going to be super long. No, you don't want to wait in the market, the crypto market, till 2027, 2028, because most likely we would be done in 1.5 year if the inflationary scenario is not popping back up. Now, we don't know what's actually gonna happen, but one thing for sure is after wave 2, we are going to definitely observe the market dropping. Now, we have seen this over and over again. You can go into different assets which have been there in the history to see what they were doing. So you see wave 1 monstrous run to the upside, like 160, 170x move. And people would say like, okay, the market cycle is done, get out of the market. Because they feel like, okay, the market has done too much. Fine. Now, when the price goes down 80%, at that moment you feel like they are completely right. Anyone who's talking other than that is completely wrong. But what happens? That's the first 80% correction in the market. So after which, you again do a 120x, which is huge. Now, to put things in perspective, you actually break out here and retest and bounce here. So your wave 1 actually is 33x, but from the bottom, you have already done 100x, right? So even after that, the market does another 120x. Then what happens? The market corrects back lower, 75% down. And then again, the market goes back up. So this is one of the easiest stuff which I actually reiterate. Understand this. In this cycle, this is the first time you are dropping like this. So you do have a long way inside this cycle. Now, why am I saying this? Because in the last cycle, the entire wave 1 and the correction and the retest of the top was like this. So if you put that into perspective, saying the bottom was 400 days. And in next 400 days, what happened? The all-time highs were done. If you take that here, that means it is already 900 days and you're looking for 900 days or less than that, say 700 days for wave 2 and wave 3. Now you're going to get consolidation in between. So inside that next 350 days, which is like half of that is going to be this consolidation. So after wave 2, if we are looking for like 2 years for wave 2 and wave 3, and half of that, which is going to be 1 year, again is going to be consolidation, correction, 80% down. Then you literally have 1 year to do wave 2 and wave 3. So now you're going to go into a bear market at one point. you're going to reach a bubble territory where you will have to take your profits. Just you need to understand where to take profit and when to take profit. Because if you're not taking profits, someone else will definitely take that out. Now, last cycle you had whales, but this cycle you have monstrous whales. Now I'm talking about the institutions. So they have algorithms, they have bots, they have experienced traders from years in different industries, forex, commodities, stocks. They do everything and they are here with an expertise. So they would be manipulating the market. When we go up, they manipulate it too much to the upside. So you feel like it's going to go higher and you get trapped. Now you can literally use indicators to easily spot these differences in the market or uncertainties in the market to see like, okay, I should be exiting here. Now you may not get the exact top here. You can see like, okay, you went down. Now you're like, okay, maybe we are going to go back up. Maybe we are going to go back up. But what happens? The price actually suggests, that was a huge drop. You actually broke the previous level of support here. You retested and got rejected. So that's an exit. So if you bought here 0.03, you definitely had a chance to take out here. Now, the same happens when you go to the downside. The market manipulators are going to push to the downside too much. That's why the fear and greed index, it never stops in between. It kind of goes boom, boom. So if you are here, you do have to take profits and you are looking at one asset, great, sit in there, hold on tight. But if you are looking at a lot of different assets inside this asset class, now you need to be a little bit cautious because not every asset is going to move together. Some of them would be slow, some of them would move, some of them would hit targets first. So if you are looking for those kind of updates, you can look at the Patreon where we drop these kind of updates. If I'm buying, if I'm selling, and breakouts of different assets, which is happening right now in the market. Some of the breakouts, some of the assets are actually breaking macro scenario. They're changing. The trend is shifting. So maybe next 2 months, maybe next 3 months, maybe next 6 months, who knows? We are going to top out in wave 2. And that would be a 100x scenario. So even if you have average gains, which can be like 30 to 50x. So yeah, if you have patience and you're in the right assets or a group of assets, that increases your chance to get those. So guys, if you receive value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. That supports the channel a lot. And I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.